Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. This is game number 5, and I did just in fact press the wrong button, but yes, this is game number 5 between University of Texas at Austin versus Indiana University, and currently University of Texas at Austin, spoiler alert, does lead this series 3-1, which does put Indiana University in a bit of a tight spot. They would have to win 3 games in a row if they do want to advance to the finals, so Oobios, aka Anthony Nguyen, playing for University of Texas at Austin, can afford to take a couple risks. His team is in a pretty solid lead in this series, whereas Treva, FGTreva, Treva, kind of like Trevor, okay, playing as the Teal Terran for Indiana University, aka Joe Walters. He is going to have to play a little bit more conservatively and defensively. So you see, we do have the standard supply depot at the what is that? The ramp. So yeah, this is actually going to be gotta talk about stuff because nothing's happening. So we see the drone being pulled for the early scout or potentially a hatch. No, just going for the early scout. As far as this map as a TVZ, Treva really has a tough position ahead of him. Taking the natural is relatively easy. You can wall off this sort of area right here pretty quickly and allow you to secure your natural, but if you do that, the Zerg is absolutely free to take his third and potentially his fourth, just because it is so super close to that third. So really, it's going to be interesting to see what Treva does. He could go for a quick third as well, or potentially we could see some very fast Hellions, and followed by a Banshee. There is a lot of negative space in this map, so kind of dead airspace. You can fly up behind here and come right into the natural. Whereas over here, there is a little bit of room where you can micro that Banshee just a little bit. So both players now scouting each other, pretty standard. So really, Treva not grabbing that gas. Looks like he is going to be going for a pretty quick expansion down into the natural. Currently up to about 300 minerals. We're probably going to see a hatchery go down pretty quickly. Only one Marine currently, and yeah, there's the SCV coming out to drop that expansion. So the Marine should be trying to go deny scouting. It will probably do an excellent job. However, this Overlord will be able to fly into that negative airspace up here and see that expansion pretty quick. So standard stuff. Quick expand Terran versus quick expand Zerg, and we have the SCV scouting, sees the pool timing, sees no gas, so I believe Treva can sit back for a little while until speed is finished. Oobios can't really do any real pressure, though I could be completely wrong. He could decide to go for some crazy roach timing. We see now some queens, and a couple Zerglings are going to scare away that SCV. So yeah, without that gas, Oobios, is pretty limited as far as which builds he can go for. Speed Mutalisks are definitely a possibility. The question would be whether or not you want to get speed before layer with that Zergling speed, just so you have that extra defensive mobility against any potential Hellions. Or maybe, oh, that's very cool. We see Oobios adding on more and more queens. Let's see if he adds another. No, just grabbing one extra queen. Oh no, there's 2 queens to poop creep. There's one and another. So yeah, Oobios going with the standard 2 queen opening, or 4 queen, I suppose, because I can count. Just spread creep around the map. Be nice and defensive, try to hold position against any sort of Hellion play that comes in. We did have 2 refineries go down for Treva, so he is getting that gas. He does drop a factory and a reactor, so we are going to be seeing just a little bit of delayed Hellion play, but the Zergling manages to get in and see everything before it is killed by this champion SCV. So the bunker is now finished. Let's see if they get in. There we go. So they just got in there. The bunker is finished. That's going to deny any more run-bys without speed. And yeah, we see 3 gas going down at the 6-minute mark. No quick third base from Oobios. He is just deciding to sit on 2 base, so we could actually see Mutas, unless he does just go for Roach, and now he's going to drop the Evo chamber pretty quick as well. I don't see why you would need 3 gas for only Roach, unless he's going to go right into layer. No, he's grabbing speed now for the Zergling, so Oobios is actually kind of confused confusing me, and I'm supposed to be the educated one, so I don't really know what Oobios is doing. Just continuing to spread creep. He's got these queens in a great position just to deny any sort of Hellion run by. Now we see the 2 Hellions already about to finish and be on their way. There's one and the second, so we'll just go ahead and follow those and see if Treva can do any damage. I don't know that he will be able to because Zergling speed is on the way, and these Hellions are about to be scouted by this Zergling. Yeah, there we go. The Zergling does know. Oobio actually did not click on the Zergling, so he didn't take it. Is now grabbing a third at about the 7.5 minute mark. So yeah, it does look like Oobios just wanted to be safe before he grabbed that third. And uh-oh, now the Hellions are going to have to try to deny creep. Let's see if they are able to. And the tumor, oh, it does die. So he does roast his own Hellion to kill that tumor. That's very, very cool little micro trick you can do there. But the creep, 2 tumors are spreading that creep so quickly, and now the roaches are just going to deny those Hellions so well. So these Hellions actually do need to be careful. There we go. We actually have the roaches on their way across the map, and more Hellions are also going out too. So here come the first 4 roaches. I don't know if there are any more. Yeah, it does look like there are 2 more, and there is the double Evo chamber. So double Evo, double upgrade roach, followed by probably some infestors later on. Now we see the layer going down in the main. Could be seeing some quick infestors as well off of this 3 gas once the upgrades are started for Oobios. I don't know how long he's had these Evo chambers, but I feel like he definitely needs to be making upgrades. There we go. There's one, and there's Carapace. So getting range, melee attack in Carapace, and now adding on a Baneling Nest. So it looks like the roaches were actually just a little bit of a fake. They didn't put any pressure on at the main. I believe they just extended into the map to scare those Hellions away. And we can see there are still now just dancing around the map, just killing a couple Zerglings. But it doesn't look like any damage was done. A few SCVs were pulled to help prepare against the repair, but nothing happened. We have a Baneling Nest on the way, more drones, a lair. Yeah, standard stuff, but just Zergling, Baneling, hopefully infestor play. So yeah, very standard mid game. We have siege tanks on the way for Treva, so he's just playing nice and safe, getting out those reactor medevacs, getting siege tanks and siege tech at the same time. His siege tank is on the high ground. I don't know if that's intentional or not. And oh, a lot of Marines look like they are going to start moving out. We did have some Zerglings in production, actually quite a bit of Zerglings. That's 24 Zerglings. Are now out. Baneling Nest is finished. Speed, however, is not finished. Some great creep spread, but these Hellions and Marines and Marauders as well are already across the map. More Zerglings are in production, but we really need to see the Baneling Nest to help deal with this odd timing. And here come the Marines. There's an SCV pulled as well. And here we go. The Hellions are getting in there. They get off a great roast on those Zerglings. Huge stim, does a lot of damage. And currently the upgrades are 0-0 versus 0-0, but 1-1 is about to finish in about 30 seconds. Looks like this third might actually go down. And Treva doing some great damage with this push. He kills an Overlord and supplies Oobios, so he can't make anything. And now Oobios is making those Banelings, but he only has 4. I don't know if it'll be enough. The units are kind of locked into position. The Banelings get a huge, oh my god, that hit was amazing. Look at that. The Marines just melted to those poor Banelings. A single Marauder, oh, not even a Marauder, a Hellion made it out of there with hardly any health at all. So that push, it's tough to say if it was a fair trade or not, but I would actually put Treva in the lead because he did deny that third base. He did take out the hatchery. However, the counterattack from Zerg could be really dangerous. There already are a few Marines and Marauders, but a potential Baneling bust counterattack could be pretty dangerous. Instead, it just looks like Treva is content trying to get back onto his feet. He is grabbing infestors, more and more drones as well. So just trying to get himself back into that macro position. And Treva pushing out once again. Now Combat Shields has finished, and the Zerglings are actually going to go try to run around and help secure the third. And here are the Zerglings. They are going to see that third. The tanks are sieging just barely in time, and the Marines manage to catch them out of position. A big stim scares away the rest of the Zerglings. Let's see if the Roaches also try to push into that third. It doesn't look like it is. Oobios just decides to back off. He is now grabbing that +2 melee attack, and presumably pretty quickly, once he's done with his infestors, also going to be grabbing +2 Carapace. So Centrifugal Hooks is not being researched for that Baneling speed. Roach speed is also not being researched, so I don't know how Oobios plans to deal with this Marine siege tank based composition for Treva, as long as Treva splits his Marines pretty well when the two enemies finally do engage, and the Siege Tanks focus down the Banelings, Treva should be in a pretty good spot. But it's just always impossible to tell and hypothesize until it happens. These infestors do have enough energy for fungal growth, so that will help a lot. I believe Pathogen Glands is finished, and actually we see a Spine Crawler just to prevent against drops. Let's see where that, there we go. The Infestation Pit is getting those, did have Pathogen Glands, so the infestors do have that energy, and we have what appears to be some Banelings running out. And just for a sec, I'd just like to point out the creep spread that's going on for Oobios. He's actually extending the creep all the way across to his opponent's fourth. So Treva, if this creep manages to get down onto the low ground of that fourth, we'll have to scan and clear it up. And oh no, Burrow is finished. We could be seeing a lot of infested Terrans trying to clean up this base, and there are a bunch of supply depots, but no turrets for vision. This planetary fortress should be able to hold, but as long as there is no vision from the Burrow Banelings, oh, and here are the infested Terrans spawning so many of them. The planetary fortress is trying to fire away, but the SCVs are not repairing. It does look like he is a little bit distracted, and this planetary fortress is about to fall. The repair is going on. It's getting dangerously low. Meanwhile, Treva is counterattacking once again into the third. He does manage to take out the third. A big fungal on the Marines, but they do manage to clear it out and finally back away, and the Zerglings are forced to attack. No, the Zerglings are actually counterattacking. There was a Baneling bust into the main. So much is going on. A huge hit on the SCVs. They take lots of damage. The Roaches are now getting in on the Marines along with the Siege Tank. It does look like the third managed to survive, and Treva is also pushing into the third of the Zerg. Meanwhile, the Zerglings and Roaches are continuing to wreak havoc on the natural for Treva. He does not have that wall completed. There is a little bit of room there. There are two Siege Tanks that need to be sieged up to help clean this up. Treva, I'm not sure if he should pull back or no. He actually picks up and decides to go into the main to do even more damage. We just take a look at the workers killed. 40 workers killed for Treva. So really doing a lot of damage, and now he's going to get the Hive. That's so much tech gone. Adrenal Glands just barely started, but if this spawning pool goes down, then Oobios will be super far behind. All he will be able to make is infestors and a Roach Warren, and uh-oh, here's the infestors. Looks like they might get a fungal growth. They don't have enough energy, and they walk in, and the Zerglings and whatever those are, the things that die out of the buildings, oh, they don't manage to clean up the Marines, and oh boy, this could be really scary for Oobios. He doesn't have any units. The drones are completely undefended. A single queen, and here we have the Zerglings, and backing into the corner, Treva is just doing a lot of damage. He did lose his natural, however, he does have that third base still up and running. The SCVs are currently mining. If we just take a look at the supply, a big fungal growth just went down on those Marines, but they do manage to get picked up and get out of there barely. And actually picking up and going onto the high ground, looks like Treva is going to continue to put on the pressure. This is crazy pressure. And here we have another infestor, and a big fungal growth does a lot of damage and cleans that up. But just looking at the supply, Treva 60 supply ahead, 112 to 58. And now we already see the big, scary Terran counterattack on its way across the map. It is going to be able to take out this fourth pretty easily. Just taking a look at the unit tab. 6 Zerglings and 5 Banelings. A big fungal growth goes down on the Siege Tank. It is getting pretty low. And the Banelings, they do now have speed, but oh man, the Marauders managed to kill them before they get into the Marine Ball, and this fourth is about to go down. The third is rebuilding. The main is rebuilding. The natural is oversaturated. And uh-oh, here we go. Treva now moving in. Looks like he's going to go for the killing blow. Not going to let his opponent get up. A big fungal growth on these units, but they're getting dangerously low. The medevacs are able to keep them up. Another fungal growth could be critical, but not enough energy. Some infested Terrans maybe? No, nothing. And Treva continues to push in. And Oobios GG's and taps out of game number 5. Great multitasking from both players, but the game does go to Indiana University, so they are on their way back. It is currently 3-2. So let's see if this is the beginning of a comeback or the beginning of the end. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next game.